Who cares if it's a flag? Whose flag is over top the mines where the gold is stolen from?
Did any of them go over there and fight? Did any of them send their kids over?
This is, you guys probably know, Claire Daly and Mick Wallace are the two amazing people in the EU Parliament. Always based, those two. Anyway, here they are being interviewed, and Mick Wallace makes a very important point.
You're colonizing the place. You're going to own it here. And now, as if that's not bad enough, when the IMF gave them a loan in 2021, one of the conditions of the loan was that Ukraine changed its land purchase arrangement. At that time, foreigners couldn't buy land, so that was dropped. So then large corporations from Europe and America could buy lots of 25,000 acres at a time, 10,000 hectares. At this stage, European corporations have bought more land in Western Ukraine than the Russians have taken on the east side. We're saddling them with a debt. It's a debt trap that they're never going to be able to pay back. We're going to own the place. What the Russians don't own, we'll own, right? And Ukraine's sovereignty is a long, long piece away, right? And still, we don't mind continuing to throw working class Ukrainians into the meat grinder. Do they care about them? And all the politicians that voted to keep the war going, did any of them go over there and fight? Did any of them send their kids over? They didn't.
All great points, but I hadn't heard anyone else make the point that massive corporations, many of them American, but even if they're not American, they're Western, Western corporations have bought up a lot of Ukraine, more of Ukraine than Russia has taken in this war. It's actually the West that has managed to steal more of Ukraine. And I have covered in the past how Zelensky has declared Ukraine's open for business to be sold for pieces. He rang the opening bell on the stock market here in the U.S. Goldman Sachs and Larry Fink, I think, BlackRock as well, maybe, were in charge of basically selling off large portions of Ukraine, their resources, their various types of natural resources, including oil, of course, but land as well. Ukraine produces tons of wheat. So if you sell that land where the wheat producing land off, that's another way to steal from them. And Zelensky, has been high-fiving through all of this, right? He's basically one of these U.S. puppets that have been put in there to just sell Ukraine for pieces. And so Mick Wallace is making the point that the West has actually stolen more Ukraine right now than Russia has in this war. You don't hear that on mainstream media, right? They can't tell you that. Hey, in this thing, Putin actually has stolen less Ukraine than the U.S. has, than the U.S. and Western interests have. But of course, this is, this is under the massive capitalist entities. This is what you do. You just buy up countries. You steal them via money. You don't have to use militaries anymore as much. You just go in and you make them an offer they can't refuse, and then all of their natural resources are shipped to you. So who cares whose flag it is? Who cares what flag you're waving, right? Was it Niger? I can't remember. There's several countries recently that have thrown off their capitalist change and kicked the French and the U.S. out. And I think it was Niger or maybe now they're pronouncing it Niger, that kicked the French out. And there's some video of the massive amounts of gold in French banks, like bricks of gold that came from Niger and other African countries. And yet that country doesn't actually have hardly any gold of its own. So basically, France was able to steal all of that gold via, paying for it at pennies on the dollar. It's a way of, who cares if it's a flag? Whose flag is over top the mines where the gold is stolen from? It's still stolen. You own you stole it up, you owned it, you paid for it, you bought it at pennies on the dollar because you also have an economic war against them if they don't let you buy these things. They say no to your deal and you're okay, well, we'll just crush your economy. Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Eleanor opening the show. You get to hear her amazing voice. And then a full hour of brand new comedy. I promise you've never heard it. I offer to give your money back. I've offered to tie your $5 to a brick and throw it through your window if you do not have a good time and do not like the show. And so we already did the first show and no one has asked for their money back. 0 so far. So I think you'll really enjoy it. Really like it.